what in tarnation was his name? And
What
he's, huh?
you
Oh,
talking
someone's
about?
Googling it, I bet.
You talking
No?
about Will Smith?
No.
No.
Talking about who played Dr. Lovelace in the 1990s movie, or it might have
Wild
been the
Wild West.
two. Yeah, Wild Wild West. Someone is going to be quick on the draw. I know. We've got very, very fast
That was actually the
people.
first movie that I would categorize Will Smith as what made him stand out from any other movie was Wild Wild West.
Huh, interesting. Interesting.
But that's my
Yeah,
era. I grew up in the 90s, not the 60s, so maybe that's why I relate to that.
That's true.
yeah, probably.
How about the
Probably.
80s?
I think we relate to whatever era that we loved. For me, yeah, I was that hokey disco guy. I was the literally,
Dr. Lovelace was Kenneth Branagh, the English actor.
Oh,
no, it
Kenneth.
was that singer who was really, really short. The movie from the 90s or 2000s, he had
Dr.
glasses, I think.
Dr. Lovelace was the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. On the TV show, it was Michael Dunn, and he
Yeah.
was a little person,
Yep.
literally. So, yeah.
Oh.
And does anybody know that the fellow that played Artemis Gordon, whose name I should remember
Ross
but
Martin.
don't, he actually,
Mar-
thank you.
yeah,
Martin.
Ross Martin. Yeah.
He had a heart attack, I think around season two or one of the seasons. So they had to temporarily bring in a few other characters
Wow.
to not that anyone could replace him, but they did for about six shows. Oh, and West himself.
Yeah.
He suffered a bad fall. He was trying to swing from a chandelier. You know this,
All right.
Hmm.
Cheryl, and cracked his skull. He was in the hospital for
Ooh.
months. And to me, he didn't look quite, his hair didn't look quite the same when he came back, if you compare seasons. But how they fixed that, and that's what's really cool because I'm all about editing. Wish I could edit my stuff and make me look better. But in any case,
Um,
um, they took the footage from him swinging on the chandelier, and
Mm-hmm.
of course, they had to, it fell and they kept that footage. And when he was well enough to come back, they did a pickup. They picked it up, if you will, with him getting up off the ground and continuing his fighting. And he did all his stunts
Wow.
too, by the way.
yeah.
Wow.
So and he had a podcast up until
Wow.
about 7 years ago. I'd follow it. I'd go or watch the replays. I didn't have time to listen or watch every week, but yeah, I love that period. I'm sure I lived back. In fact, I know I lived back then a couple of different lives, and these folks keep coming back into each of my lifetimes um, to not to harass me, but
Uh-huh.
to enhance my life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, no one ever, goes away, right? Some way or another,
Yep.
they're going to come back to you later in life, this life and the next.
Totally. Totally. And I'm not complaining. I'm grateful and thankful. So it's all good. For some of you who are actually watching, we've begun our live stream on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
this
you.
day. Yeah, we're chatting about all kinds of things with our wonderful guest, Magic Mitch Koth. And we are going to start the show in just a few minutes. So just ignore us. This is our pre-show chat. Um, if you have any comments, you can pipe up. But is that a proper term, pipe up? Sounds like
No,
a
I've
lead
never heard of
pipe.
that before.
Pipe up or pipe down.
Pipe up?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
time I've ever heard of that.
Pipe up means to speak up.
You mean
And
speak
pipe
up?
down means to shut up.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that maybe I've never heard of it before till now.
It depends where you live or where you grow up. It's like pop, where I'm from. Out here, it's soda.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah,
Oh,
pop,
okay.
I
pop.
say
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
or
Yep.
tonic. Ugh, no.
And it's not
Not
pop
necessarily.
music, it's pop, soda pop, 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 pop.
Mm.
Hmm.
No, soda pop is different.
How
That's ice.
so?
That's ice cream.
Soda pop.
Is the ice cream soda. That's
Yeah,
what
it
soda.
is
Oh,
different.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what do we call that out here? I don't know. Um,
Delicious.
yes. Yes,
All
absolutely.
good sugary drinks and all good sugary desserts. Yum yum.
I know.
Ah,
And I can't. I have to cut back. I'm sad.
so I
Hey, well, I am a
understand that.
personal trainer, so if you do have fitness related questions, now's the time to ask me. I actually do this for a living. So
Yes. Oh my gosh. No, we have a
if you
friend
have,
who has to have a low sugar diet, and she seems to think that she can still have like the double sweet tea and the muffins, and we're like, no,
no,
no, it's
no.
not good.
Yeah, I mean, when clients tell me all the time when I sit down with them and they say, "Oh, I'm eating, like a donut for morning and I'm having sugar and cream in my coffee and then like at lunch I'm having like the fattiest carbohydrates and then I'm having like a tart cake afterwards and then afterwards after that I'm having like chips and soda. Oh, and then for dinner I'm just not eating because I'm already so bloated and full, so then I'll just skip that and go right to the dessert." And I go, "Yeah, and you had trouble losing weight, you were
Yes.
saying?"
Or I
Um,
would have small meals, but I snack in between. Yes, I
Oh, you're a
love.
snacker.
Yeah,
Okay.
You know what I
that's what people say. You know. Yeah,
you
you're.
know what I've done rather than cutting out sugary drinks because I used to be a big fan of Coca-Cola and
Yeah.
mainly I decided to go cold turkey, which is
Uh-huh.
not easy if you're
Oh
addicted
no.
to Coca-Cola for many, many, many years. And water. I just do water. If we're in a restaurant somewhere and there's no choice, or if they do
Hmm.
have Coke, not Pepsi, yes. Or
Yeah.
A&W root beer. A&W root beer. Oh my God. Anyway, guess
Mhm.
what, kids? It looks like it's that time. What do
Okay.
you think, Cheryl? Wow. We're almost getting ready to begin our show with the
Yes.
wonderful Magic Mitch Koth. Are we all ready?
I'm
Ready
ready.
as I'll ever be.
Yay! I'm ready. I've been looking forward to this for some time. You may remember me from my television shows in the 1980s and 90s, and now I host two regularly live streamed virtual magic shows. One is a showcase for some of the greatest magicians in the world, and the other is a talk show featuring some of the most inspiring conjurers of our times. Welcome now to Magical People. And welcome back, everybody, to this edition of Magical People Live with myself, Dr. Michael, and
Lady C.
Lady C, Lady Chameleon, Cheryl, my award-winning partner in magic, and that's absolutely true. Whether you feel embarrassed or not, I'll try to bring that up from time to time. You sure are. And Mitch, Magic Mitch, we finally have you on our show. How are you this
Yes.
day?
I am awesome. I'm fantastic. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome. Look at that. We've run out of time. So I want to thank
Oh,
everybody for
damn.
joining us. I'm joshing. I'm excited because I have admired you and your work for some time, ever since I saw you on the Tuesday Night Magic Theater a couple of years back, of which we participated in. And of course, the Wednesday Open Mic Magic Theater every Wednesday. You guys look that up on Facebook because we're always a part of it. And a lot of the people involved with that show are watching right here and now on in the studio as well as on Facebook. So I've always admired one of the things, Mitch. May I call you Mitch since it's
Yeah.
your name?
Yes, you can call me Mitch. Yes.
One of the things, thank you. One of the things I've admired, I see I've set the pace for what kind of day it's going to be, what kind of interview. I might need you to bonk me over the head, Cheryl, with a mallet or something. So, yes, thank you. Three Stooges style, Three Stooges style. We do like our Me TV. In any case, one of the things I liked about watching you, Mitch, is you're not just doing tricks or effects, as I like to call them. They have a rhyme and reason, which
Yes.
can be so sadly lacking, not with every performer, but especially in a fast-paced society like what we have. They want to get to it. Or if you're watching Instagram, I love social media. Don't get me wrong, because it gets people out there, and I'm guilty of using it a lot, as well as Facebook and other things. But your magic makes sense. And I've noticed you kind of go out of your way a little bit, or more than a little bit, to come up with a theme or a topic to work into it.
Yes.
And let's chat a little bit about that. Where do you get your ideas from?
So a lot of it is just based around my life. And if you were to kind of boil down what I do, my life is just pretty simple. My passion is fitness. My love is just reading, fine arts. I love, of course, hanging out with my friends, talking music, going to shows and exhibitions, watching movies, basically what everybody does. And what I do is I have kind of, I guess, a knack, so to speak, of kind of recalling or remembering what stands out to me or what I relate to in these experiences that I go through. And I try to put that together in routines. And I think that's something that I have kind of worked on over the years quite a bit. It's not just about the trick, it's something much more than the trick. It's something that I have
Absolutely.
meaning to.
Absolutely. Um, I have a big question for you a little bit later. It's
Uh-huh.
not such a big deal, but it's kind of like I'm going to ask everybody on my next Friday night Wizard Emporium show, the first Friday of every month on Facebook. I try to ask everybody the same question, and I'm going
Mhm.
to ask them this. So you'll be the first one to get this question a
Oh,
little bit
okay.
later, which I think is kind of important as a performer, as a person who is conscientious about their work, which you obviously are. No matter, is it fair to say, no matter what you tackle, you're pretty conscientious about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty intentional about every kind of step that I make. Even if it comes down to something small, I try to keep that in the back of my head and then I'll try to work on it or save it later in the file cabinet. And then if it's, resonating with me in that moment, I'll work on it. And if it's not, then I'll just come back to it later.
Absolutely. You know what? I don't know if you know what a morgue is. Not a place for dead bodies. It might as well be
Oh,
from my
that's what I was going to
perspective.
guess.
But it's no. In graphic design, we used to call a morgue a filing cabinet full of reference material. So if we
Uh,
had to illustrate something, back then we didn't go online. Back then we do it all straight, not from memory. If we had to draw a horse, we'd look under H&R Morgue, open up the filing cabinet, and say, "Oh, there's a nice horsey," and that was me. We all didn't call it horsey. I would call it horsey, and that sort of thing. So I get the feeling that you have, if you will, tons of reference. I know I'm going to get it later. Tons of reference material, which you store up in that brain of yours. And
yes.
I think that is so useful. I think that's amazing because, correct me if I'm wrong, I like to walk through toy stores and dollar stores for ideas, and something in the back of my head may ring true. And it's like, oh, there's the perfect, prop for an idea for a trick that I thought about months ago. Do you kind of work like that as well? Is it more abstract, more ideas? Is it all of that?
I mean, yeah, I agree. It's all of it and more. I think a lot of it too just came down to just trial and error for me around trial and error. I mean, I can talk about some of my um, guidelines and tips that I can share with the viewers about what helps me kind of establish a routine or what inspires me. And I'll share that
Let's
in the
do it.
comments.
Let's do it, Mitch.
Okay, so So the viewers have some context. Back in 2018, I did a lecture for IBM Ring 216, and the premise of this lecture was called a presentation on opening lines. And so I wrote a whole format for magicians and anyone who attended on what do you say when you first approach a group of people? I mean, you could talk about literally everything and anything. You can even ramble, or you could say nothing and just start performing. So I thought, wouldn't it be really cool just to kind of like set some sort of step-by-step process for people who are nervous, or people who don't know them, or maybe people who need something to say. So that's why I created it. So these opening lines, there's about 9 tips that I shared with magicians, and I can kind of briefly go over them. But for the viewers who are watching, if you're taking notes, maybe Dr. Michael can share these on the screen as I type them. But these are just tips for establishing how to approach a group of people. And the number one tip that I can share with everyone is establish a premise. So back in the day when I watched a bunch of DVDs, there was a DVD set called Premise, Power, and Participation. This was from David Regal off of L&L Publishing. And the very first DVD was called Premise. So you have to establish something you find interesting, something you want to talk about. I mean, there's so much that you could share and information that we love to discuss, that we have so much in common. There's practically nothing that you could talk about that you wouldn't share, that, right, you wouldn't pass along to somebody if you were mentioning it to them. However, you got to pick one thing, and establish a premise. And so if you're opening with a funny line, you may want to establish a funny premise. Or if you're opening with a serious tone, you may want to establish with something that happened to you personally. I think personal experiences are a little bit more concrete because people remember them more. And it just boils down to just picking a topic and talking about it. So number one, establish your premise. And if you have any feedback along the way, you can ask me more about that, because I dove into great discussion about that too.
Yeah,
Number
I want to
two,
run with that
oh,
first point as well
yeah.
because you reminded me. Oftentimes, well, don't get me started on opening lines. And for me, it's regional, where
Mm,
I've started off in the Far East, meaning Montreal, Toronto, and even Central Canada, Winnipeg. They're really open, they're fun, they're happy people, they want to be entertained. I never had a problem approaching a table or a corporate gig. Hey, how you guys doing? I'm Magic Mike. Blah. And then I would engage them. But often I've learned from Jay Sankey to leave them with something, perhaps
uh,
something frozen in time. Say the trick happens, maybe their signature appears or disappears, whatever. But I'd also pick a number of effects,
mhm.
at least one of them with a group where they can take something home. So you're leaving them something to remember you by. Um, Out on the West Coast, when I first moved here, I found my approach had to be completely different. Because if you approach a table, even in a high-end place anywhere on the West Coast, they
Mm,
think you're not a beggar, but like a busker. And
right.
so I'd have to go up to the table. I learned really quickly and go, hey, I'm Magic Mike. Whatever company or restaurant is paying me for your free entertainment tonight, and I'd like to share something with you. I'd use words, I still use words to that effect. So right away, I'm establishing this isn't going to cost them anything. It may cost them their humor or their lives, but no, it's not going to cost them anything. And I'm just there to make everyone happy or, or amaze them or whatever. So I found, and my question to you is, have you found, I don't know if you've performed all across the States or anywhere else other than West Coast where you live, um, is your approach different? It may differ depending on the circumstances, depending on the kind of gig you're doing. Do you find that so?
I actually haven't performed too much outside of the West Coast as of right now. Mostly it's just been here in my state of California. I think it depends on the venue and where you're going that will establish what kind of presentation you want to go for. Sure, yeah, I think if you go somewhere else, you definitely have to have a different, what you said is a different style of how you present yourself and how you come across. But I think if you go to a different venue and you go somewhere different, you kind of have to establish what the energy is like, right? You have to kind of feel it out,
Absolutely.
and that's how you can fit in and blend in there.
Absolutely. I know you're anxious to go on to the other points, but I'm anxious as well. I want to brag a little bit on you.
Oh, okay.
I've got your sizzle reel,
Oh, okay.
and I got it off your website. I'm sure there's something illegal going on, but nonetheless, here it
Probably.
is. And I want to share it. I'd like to share it with everybody if that's okay with you.
Yes, please.
All righty. I was hoping you'd say that.
Okay. Yes.
And
If I bring my wrist up and I bring my wrist down, you can actually change some cards to blue. But interesting enough, if I snap my fingers, see the cards never came out of the card box. Two, three. And no one should see that. Now says Queen of Hearts.
Oh, you know what? I know what the problem is, you guys. I know what the problem is. Maybe not everyone here likes Trident. I'm sorry, my mistake. Then if you were Trident, maybe you would like juicy fruit or peppermint instead. And I'm going to take the ace, move it here, don't blink. It's an invisible palm. Because if I come here to the deck, or to the cards, there was 3, but the invisible palm technique is how you can get 4. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a demonstration of 4 aces.
I love that, Mitch, and I'll tell you why.
Thank you.
Um, it's one of the things I liked about you right away is you're proficient, your card work, your coin work. There's no denying that. It's obvious that you practice and you're smooth and it looks fantastic, but it's entertaining as well. And I want to talk a little bit about marketing with you. I don't remember if you brought this up before we went to air or not, but watching your sizzle reel got me all excited about my old advertising days. And
Hmm.
I love that you combined live action, a Zoom segment, a testimonial or two on there, which is crucial. And you said within, I don't know how long that was, maybe a minute, minute and a half. I didn't actually time how long it was. It's like a resume. It's like a magic or performers. I prefer to call you a performer really more.
Yeah.
A resume and testimonials. And I'm curious, did you come up with that yourself? Did you do the editing? Did you have the help of other people? What did you do?
Well, I actually want to talk about that just briefly before I answer your question. So the first name on there, Bill. So you may be like, who is this guy? He's actually the comic book guy. So if you just Google his name, he wrote multiple comic books. So I performed for him one time because I met him at a convention and I showed him some cool tricks, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, of course! Can I use you as a reference and a quote for my video?" Absolutely. So that's who Bill is. Want to credit him. And then I also want to credit, you'll see the woman in the video when I did the invisible palm aces, the woman on the bottom, that was my aunt. So I would like to credit my aunt Anita, who watched that in my Christmas special, who was in the video. And she was not in on it. She didn't know how it was done. later posts, when the show was over, she came up to me when we all came together at a family gathering, and she's like, Mitch, I have no idea how you did that last ace trick, how it got there. I mean, how in the world did it get there? She was questioning me, trapping me in a corner, and I go, I'm not telling you, not telling you. But that's who my aunt was, who she is. So credit to those two people in the video. And then for the video itself, my inspiration came from, as we'll talk about it maybe soon, I'm a guy who's currently watched, as of today, 495 DVDs, have a whole book on cards, coins that I wrote down.
And that's awesome, Mitch. Thank
We're
you. I
back.
think what we're going to do now is deviate slightly, like we haven't already, and go to an appearance on my Friday Night Wizard Emporium
Awesome.
and simply enjoy that. So, everyone, check it out.
Yeah, awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Michael, for allowing me to be on the show. Sorry, I'm a little cut off, everybody, and I hope you guys can see me and hear me okay. Yeah, so a little quick introduction. Hi, hello. My name is Mitch Kothe, or you can call me Magic Mitch for short. A little bit of an intro for me. I also go on the Tuesday and Wednesday shows as well. I specialize in close-up card magic, and I've been performing magic for roughly about 15 years or so. I'm part of the IBM and SAM in our local area. And here I'm going to show you a debut routine that I've been working on for a couple weeks. I apologize in advance because this was originally done to music and I could not get my music for this routine. So apologies to that, but I hope you still get to enjoy this performance. So without further ado, here is my routine. The routine goes like this. We always know there's a saying. There's either a gambler and then there's a magician. We even have a whole plot for this in card magic. It's called The Gambler versus the Magician. The fascination of the realm of card magic, it's always going to be debated among scholars, historians, and card conjurers on who is better, the gambler or the magician. So picture these kings. They're gamblers and magicians. Why do they have to compete with each other? I mean, they live in the same deck. One's just a little bit different from each other. They have different colors and such. I never really truly understand competition. I understand it because it creates theater, it creates excitement, and it creates wonder. But have you ever stopped and wondered about this? I mean, actually wondered about this? I actually wrote something here on the card box that I want you guys to read. I'll hold it up nice and close if you guys can see that. So perhaps we are thinking about it all in the wrong ways. Perhaps maybe the gambler is the magician. I mean, you never know, right? Let me demonstrate this for you guys. So again, apologies because there was supposed to be music, but I will do my best here for you guys. 4 piles, empty hands. 4 kings. 4 aces. Now, maybe there is no debate amongst this. I mean, we are seeing the greatest card technicians, and we are standing on the shoulders of giants. They before us have come, and we ourselves are living in the current future for their past and their greatest accomplishments. Try it again.
we go. And those are really shrunken down. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. You know, it got me thinking about this because the Chinese call it the yin and the yang. Taoism calls it good and evil. The Greeks call it athos and kleos. Batteries from the Duracell call it positive and negative, whatever you like to prefer it. So why not I do this? I'll show you these aces here. And let me get these out in a pile. Observe. Okay. And the ace it goes. And now it's gone. The ace is still there. But now it's changed. Last one. And it happens in the blink of an eye. Absolutely gone. And where do they go? They reappear together as one. But you know, the journey doesn't stop there. What if we tried this? Just like those kings, all a little different, but still live together in the same deck. Let's try it one more time. The aces, 1, 2, 3, 4. Empty hands. Only 3 remain. This time, the lovely ace of hearts will go right here in the center. Gone. Perhaps I'll do it with one hand. The ace of diamonds. Just a shake. It too disappears. And for the last one, the ace of spade. I'll hypnotize you and try doing this very slow. Face up it is. Now it's gone. Where do they go? Where do they disappear to? I know. Maybe, just maybe. Do you hear something? Do you hear something? You are one, you are many, but the gamblers and the magicians will always come back. A paradoxical conclusion that the gambler is always the magician and the magician is always the gambler, collectively coming together as one. That is my routine. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. My name is Magic Mitch. Hope you enjoyed that.
Wow.
Wow. Wow, that was incredible. Before we get to your questions, Cheryl, I just want to bring up that, well, the question really, did you Now we all know as magicians here a lot of the stuff, but did you routine that? Did you get it somewhere from a book? How did you come up with that? I mean, we're all familiar with McDonald's aces and whatnot, the four ace assembly and some of the other things you
Right.
showed us, but what did you do? Did you cobble various things together, or did you start from scratch? What was the thought process?
So the premise for that was the gambler versus the magician, and what I was doing is I was watching various plots. I think it was on a World's Greatest Magic and L&L publishing set. So I was watching this from, oh my gosh, naming some names here, name drop. Harry Lorraine. I was watching Steve Drawn. I was watching Harry Anderson. I was watching Michael Amar. I was watching a couple other gamblers on the project who was involved in that. And then I was like, you know what? These are all cool, but they all have their own way, their own style. I got to develop my way, my style, my routine. So another premise I really liked was the McDonald's Aces. So I thought, would it be really cool if I could combine both plots together in that routine? And that's what I did. I just started messing around with different structures in the routine. I started pasteboarding how I could sequence the moves. That move with the gambler, in the palm, that's a Randy Wakeman move. And I learned that from actually from the clip from Joshua Jay's original up close from L&L way back in the day. So it was all like accumulation of people that I've watched before, collaborations of plots that I put together, and that inspiration came from these artists that made and meshed my own routine together.
Awesome. Well done. Um, and again, that's why we call you entertaining. That's why we also say that um, well, it's so complex. I think we're pretty much all magicians here, but any non-magicians who may eventually look at this will their minds will be blown because as a magician mine is, I know all the moves that's involved in this, and it's
Hmm.
like between you and I, it's worth it. But
Yeah,
wow, I'm
yeah.
so, I love the knuckle busting aspect involved. And I think lay people as well as magicians alike would be entertained by that. So, A, I want to thank you for doing that on the Friday Night Wizard Emporium, which we'll have to get you back to when you're available, back on rather. And I just love your thinking. And
Oh, thank
that
you.
was the other thing. If I hadn't mentioned it, I'm mentioning it again. So sure, Lady C, you must have a batch of questions for Mitch.
I wouldn't say a batch, but we'll just wing it. Going off of you and your routines, how long does it take you to come up from, thinking about it to actually doing it and then getting it, say, perfecting it?
Great question. I think it depends on the length of time the routine needs to be taken to complete it and thoroughly make it, so that everything flows together. I want to make sure that the routine is well choreographed, rehearsed, practiced enough so that I'm confident that I can do it hundreds of times. I think was it David Stone off of Stone X? He said you should be able to do a routine about 100 times until you can't mess up. And if you do mess up on the 99th attempt, you have to start all over again. So even though, it wasn't 100% perfect, and even though it wasn't 100% mastered, I still put in a lot of time and effort. So it comes down to a lot of time. I think to work on any given routine, it takes me, oh gosh, I mean, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. One time I put together a routine, it took me 3 months.
Wow.
So it takes a long time to kind of put everything together. That's why I'm not on that often. That's why I have to think about what
Right.
I want to do, what the premise is, especially what the moves are going to be, if there's any. And it takes a long time to kind of do that.
What is your favorite one to do? Is there a favorite?
Yeah, so I was telling Dr. Michael before I got cut off there that I'm currently putting together a project for Joe Pond for his shop, the Misdirections Magic Shop in San Francisco. I want to put together a collaboration from seven different versions of the same plot, and I want to focus on the Anniversary Waltz plot. This was created by originally Doc Eason. Credit goes way before him, but many other artists have come together. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. I think the anniversary waltz plot is the definitive plot that I would ever pick. If I was to die tomorrow, you would write that on my tombstone. I would say anniversary waltz is the plot. It's not only good for engagement, but the connection. We live in a full world of connections. So you could relate this to just about anything. Your best friends, your parents, your neighbors, your dog or your cat, whoever. You could really relate to the connection to just about anything. The plot is also memorable. Like Dr. Michael was saying, you want to leave them with something to remember. It leaves them with a souvenir. And also why I really, really like it is because it's just, you can make it so personable. You can really engage the audience by relating a personal story, sharing something important to them, creating the effect for them, and then leaving that as a memory. I remember I did this one for, it was a long time ago when I lived in Sonoma County, and I was first starting off, but I was exploring the anniversary waltz plot, and I did a version called Waltzing, and it was a Joshua J version, and I don't want to describe the effect, but the end is that the card that they kept, this lady kept it, and a few years later, I saw her again at another function, and she kept the card that I gave her from years ago. So if you keep a card that is signed and you still have it in your purse and you show it to me, I'm sorry, like you can't top that. Restore a card and put it together, or make a card come up to the top. But you keep a card in your purse and you show it to me years later, mic drop.
I have some from magicians. I have in my china cabinet behind a door. So I have a little shelf where I put all the signed cards and stuff on in my china cabinet. So it's I don't know. I love the, like you said, the connection, the interaction, and
Yeah.
that just reminds me of a really good time. Now, do you have a least favorite performance or anything that you've ever done?
Yeah, I do. I have horror stories about it, but I won't share them here. I'll just share one. My least favorite card plot. I'm sorry to all the magicians previous to this. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and I apologize right now for what I'm about to say, but I cannot stand the plot Oil and Water. I just can't. I'm sorry. I've tried to love it. I've tried to understand it. I've tried to relate it in my own life, but for the life of me, I just can't know why I cannot seem to like the separation of reds and blacks and how oil and water do not mix. I don't know why. I just can't understand how I can relate that to anybody.
Can't hear you, Cheryl.
Oh,
Oh yeah, can't hear
to
you.
each his own. I'm sorry, because some of the things that you like, they may not like too. So,
Yeah. No, that's not to say that it can't be changed. Like that's oil and water, but maybe you
yeah,
could say something you like and then something you dislike, so you can change the course
true.
of the presentation. But the effect itself of just them separating, that's why you won't really see me do too many, magician talk out of this worlds, and you won't really see me do a whole lot of that, and you really won't see me do a whole lot of those oil and waters. I do one though version of it, and I think it makes sense, and it's only in a gambling demonstration. The credit is called The Sting, and this can be found off of Harry Lorraine's The Very Best of from L&L Publishing Volume Number 3. And I like to give credit where credit's due. So you can learn that, and if you want to learn in oil and water, I suggest learning that one for those magicians who are watching. It's called The Sting by Harry Lorraine.
Now, do you have a particular group of people that you really like performing for more than others? Say kids versus adults or teens?
Yeah, actually, I love performing for just about anybody, but if I had to pick a group of people, I would like people who are at weddings or people who are a couple, people who are in relationships. I think those are kind of like the adult aspect of it. The people who are kind of in the older crowd, people who've been together for a while. Even teenagers, sure, who are madly in love with each other and have that dopamine effect. But all those people are fine. Single people, do I exclude you? I do not exclude you. I would still perform for you. But that's the kind of preference I prefer if I was to perform for a group.
So I know, let's see. Would you, I know you have a few jobs,
I
just
have
a
a few.
few, a
Yeah,
few.
just a few.
Is your goal to ever become a full-time magician?
Yes. So one of my passions in life is hopefully one day, when I am working, my president kind of pushed me for this. Is I want to credit David Martinez. If he's watching this, he used to be my president for Ring 216. He gave up his job to be a full-time magician, and he was working at Apple for a long time, and then he left to be full-time, and he took that next step. So he kind of made me think, should I kind of go in that direction? The hardest part, I think, for anyone to kind of make that decision is, do you want to make that next leap forward?
Yes.
There's financial aspects to it, there's time management considerations, there's all sorts of questions that pop into your brain
Yeah.
about what you should be doing. So, yes, to answer your question, I do want to make it full-time career. It's just about making that next step that I haven't fully crossed over yet.
Have you set a timeline for that?
Well, I'm 35 years old, so I'm hoping to do it, and the year is 2025. So within the next 5 years, at least, if I was to pick a timeline, maybe by 2030 at the very latest that I want to start. If it's
Yeah.
before that, that's awesome. It comes down to, also, to answer your question, a little bit due to geopolitical, economic, and the times, right, of when people are going to hire you.
Right.
During the period when we had COVID, I know that performers just got locked out with their gigs and they got canceled. There was some who were, doing shows and then they suddenly stopped and had to go online for them. Right now, I heard that it's picking up. People are booking shows, especially right now because of graduation.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
lot. It's a very busy time, and especially always during the holidays, you get busy. So there won't always be a time where I will be working, but there will be times I'll be very busy working, of course, and getting multiple offers and jobs. So yeah, I think by at least 5 years, I want to start doing this full time. The more contracts, the more work I get, the more opportunities I have, the more income you'll get to be more sustainable. And that's the key word. I want to stress that, if to answer your question, sustainability
Yes.
is going to be the number one thing that's going to be the factor if I want to do this full time.
Oh, that is awesome. Okay, one last question from me. So,
Hmm.
if you want to answer it, you didn't have to.
Mm.
Is there anything people don't know about you that you think would be neat that they knew about you?
Oh, actually, yes, I would like to share that. People really don't know about this, but as you know, I'm in athletics. I've been playing sports for a long time, and one of the things that people don't really know about me that I'm really good at is that I'm a wicked good badminton player.
Oh,
I have been playing badminton since I was a kid, and I almost made, I was actually going to go to the Olympics to actually play it because I was playing
really?
so much. I was
Oh,
putting in, gosh, when I was a kid, I was putting in almost every day. Then when I was in high school, it was every other day. Then I was on the team. Then I coached it. Then I played semi-professional. Then I played in tournaments. Then I started going to BBC, Bay Badminton Company, Bing Tang Badminton, Happy Birdie,
wow.
Synergy. I started playing at Evergreen College. Then I got hired at Ohlone College. Then I was the head coach at Valley Christian High School. And then I just started playing everyone and anyone I could play. In the year 2024, I put in 2,400 minutes of exercise, and 80% of that, if you want to do the math, is badminton.
Wow. Did you ever have a trainer for it?
I actually was trained in Sonoma County when I lived there. There was a
Yep.
man, another name drop. Here we go. Stan Bischoff. I want to give you a shout out. My old coach who trained me in the art in the way of the birdie. I would like to say thank you very much for training me and making me the player that I am. Because of you and your inspiration, just because of all the other magic that I've learned, it soared me and took me off into a career that I love to do. I played in tournaments and I competed. I played against B ranked and A ranked players, international players. I played one time an international Chinese champion over at Can Elite Badminton. It took me all over, and it made me have new friends and new appreciation for different cultures. And the game is really fun. I mean, if I'm
Oh,
still
yeah.
playing it at 35 years old, it must have mean something to me.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I'm not that great, but I have done it and I still do it here and there. But, oh, well, that's all I have for you. Thank you. I will give you to
Thank you.
that man right there, Dr.
Ah,
Cool. All
thank
right.
you, Cheryl. Thank you. Always fascinating questions, always in-depth kind of stuff, which I really admire. You mentioned a couple of things this isn't, I'm going off script, of course. One of my favorite effects is also the wedding anniversary theme. I have three. I've never worked it professionally because I have three really good versions of it. Two of them marketed where, I guess we can describe the effect. I
Okay.
think we're all magicians here. It's all good without revealing anything. A couple is chosen or they volunteer. Each one selects a card. Oftentimes, their signature is put on there, and the cards meld into one. So one of them or both of them go away with one card, and on say in one version on the back is the one card they picked, on the face is the other, and their signatures are on each.
Yeah.
And I've been racking my brain, Cheryl, trying to come up with a version that we could do for Zoom. I will come up with something down the road. But one of my favorite versions of that, I'm sure you're familiar with it, Mitch, is a marketed version, I think, from Vanishing Ink, where both cards are slightly askew in the end. So they're both back to back, but somehow their face, they're a little bit off. It looks so cool. And I won't reveal how that was done. And most recently, I bought another one where the king kind of changes, where you touch it and something shifts.
Hmm.
And I love that. But so I am working on that. I've used the same act, the close-up act, my walk-around act for you don't want to know how long, 1981. That's how
Wow.
long. So it must be a really good effect for me to throw it into my repertoire. In other words, doesn't mean I can't do them, but it's like, well, we'll save it for the open mic. Wednesdays, look it up on Facebook or my own shows. Um, the other thing always bothered me, and you're the only magician who's been honest to bring up the oil and water.
Yeah.
And I just have issues with the biddle. That's all I'm going to say. And just in case
Okay.
there are non-magicians watching. And the other move involved, I don't like the way one has to necessarily hold the cards, kind of like wild card, but not. And for that reason, one of the reasons why I won't do it. I don't think it looks natural. B, I don't
Hmm.
care for the premise either. The very first time I moved to Winnipeg in 1981, this non-professional magician, it doesn't mean he wasn't any good, but I mean he wasn't making a living from it, but he was very eager, came up to me and he didn't ask me if I wanted to see a trick or not, but nonetheless, he ran up to me and he starts doing it. He did it flawlessly, but I thought, who cares? Now we may have isolated or alienated ourselves by mentioning that effect. I do prefer, and we do a really good version. I was thinking we should do that again, Cheryl, of Out to Lunch, not Out to Lunch, Out of This World.
Hmm.
But that's the only time when I will do it is the way Cheryl and I have done it, and I won't give it away what the effect looks like, but it's a little bit unique. And that's the only reason why I love it. And it seems impossible as well. So we have to do that again on one of the shows, if not all of them, Cheryl. So I agree with you. It's really weird. You're the only other magician I've ever known or met that where we agree about the effects we don't care for and the
Right.
ones we're kind of excited about. I want to get people contacting you either for mentalism or close up or your corporate gigs or wedding entertainer. How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so a couple ways you can get in touch with me. One is through my main website. I'll share it in the chat, or Michael will post it. It is https www.magicmitchmagician.com. I'll put that in the comments. So through my website. Another way to reach me is on Facebook. Just type in my name, Mitch Kothe. It's right here on the bottom. And you can put that in there and just send me a DM and I will respond to you. Another way is through my Instagram. You can also tag me. I will send that to you as well. It's another way to reach me. You can also Google my name, and then you'll find out that I'm on LinkedIn. you'll find out that I'm also maybe on other forums that you can send me messages for. I don't really hand out my private number, cell phone number to people unless I know them, so I won't hand that out. I will just say that's the best ways to reach me.
Excellent. So I want to thank you so much for joining us this day, Mitch, for putting up with myself. Of course, I'm sure you enjoyed Cheryl, but thank you so much. I hope you will come back in our new season, probably late fall or next season, next year rather.
Yeah.
Um, I know there's tons more to talk about, and we will. So I have to thank you so much for taking time to co-host with me again this time, Cheryl. It's muchly appreciated.
Yes.
I want to thank all of you for joining us this day. We are here every Saturday at 1 p.m. West Coast or LA time, if you will, East Coast time, New York time as well at 4, and UK time 9 p.m. We have coming up in a couple of weeks as well my Friday night Wizard Emporium, June 6th. We've got a huge extravaganza of people. Too much to mention, but you'll see the graphic if you're not already seeing it. And of course, be sure to join us every Wednesday on Open Mic Magic Theater. Look it up on Facebook. It's actually at the same time at 1 p.m. West Coast time, 4 p.m. East Coast time, 9 p.m. UK time. And we do it for you. I hope you all realize that. We gain nothing but to share. We love sharing with all of you guys, and hopefully you got a lot out of this show. And we'll see you all next time. Thank you once again.